This is Untold Stories, and I'm your host, Shavane Sullivan. Today we're featuring personalities behind the skill and creativity of Pencil Masters Incorporated. Pencil Masters Inc., as it is known, is locally owned and operated by Anson Henry and Zana Kentish.
We knew each other from before in relation to church, seeing each other at church, but we actually got to know each other when we started college, teacher training department. I didn't know, I knew he was an art teacher, but I really didn't know of his abilities. And he didn't know that I drew because my field was architecture. Until I showed him a couple pictures of stuff that I did. And it was only earlier this year when we actually started doing drawings together. So, am I missing anything?
Rivalry.
There's no rivalry. You want to have a rivalry.
Yeah, you can say what you want.
So tell me, Anson, what's the rivalry?
It wasn't, well, you see, I was just, it would be a joking thing because the meeting was because of drum corps, opposite drum corps, and she was on St. John's, I was on Villa. And yeah, you know, and she didn't want to admit it.
I don't know what he's talking about.
But we'll leave that. That's history, you know. But the whole meeting, in terms of relations,
this is untold stories.
Yeah,
it was just because our drum corps was better than theirs, you know.
So she believed, so she thought. But we're not going down that road. We don't want to have no bickering up here. But just saying.
A natural desire and a strong ability to draw surfaced early in the lives of Anson and Zana.
I remember drawing a lot in school. Always cartoons, you know, back then it was cartoons and what you see. So it's either cartoons or sketches of houses for me. That's basically what I remember from my childhood. I think my classmates were more intrigued by it. My mother always encouraged me to do what I liked to do. So it was never a problem with her. She's always an encouragement for me. But I think most of the time it was always my friends who always wanted something drawn. Or, you know, I think most of the time, I really remember getting in trouble at home for marking up on my mother's wall in the bedroom, drawing some stuff on the wall. And she was quite upset when she got home, but it was all right.
It was hard. How different it was for you, Anson?
For me, I guess mine started with my uncle. He used to draw a lot of what people refer to as super bikes, or ninja bikes, or yeah. And apparently, I saw him doing it. Well, I saw some of his work. Never really interested me much then, but when my cousin came back from the States, I saw her doing some drawings, and we were in Guyana at the time, and you know, I thought that I could do exactly the same thing. Her drawing was actually just a tracing.
How old were you then?
I was 7. Yeah, I was 7 then. And the tracing that she was doing was off of an album that we had. And I took another album, which was mine, and I traced the same picture, and I was kind of fascinated by the fact that I could do that. And from then, that tracing started to go from tracing the album to cartoons to pictures, and then from that I tried drawing them without tracing, and then slowly that progressed to a state where I could look at something and try drawing it there. But it wasn't really something that I was admiring, but people were fascinated by it, but to me it was just okay. Until I got to where you would say grammar school, and I saw Mr. Nathan and all those art students, you know. And then first form at the time, Mrs. Hughes was my teacher, but we weren't really doing so much of the drawing. It was still contours and stuff. But when I got under Mr. Nathan's belt, and you know, I was kind of fascinated by the possibilities that you can have with a pencil and paper. From there, everything went from just okay to I need to do better. Yeah, trying to make sure I can get to his standard.
One developed more interest in art during high school, while the other was challenged and motivated to return to pencil art.
After I found out that she could draw, I decided to see, maybe test her, push her to the point where I needed to know how well she could draw in terms, because if it's anything, I would want her working with me, because there are many people that I had considered letting them, but their interests would sway. So what I decided, as I told her that every week or every month she's supposed to produce such and such amount of pieces, and it happened that one night she was capable of finishing a piece by morning, and it kind of built an interest that I might take longer in terms of my work, but when she actually puts her mind to something, she can actually do it in quicker time. And it made me realize that, hey, her skill might actually come into good use when we have speed, when time is of the essence. Whether or not I'm taking too long, she can actually have the basis on the drawing, and if I need to finish up, I would. It can be a team effort, because I knew there might be times, if this was to actually work, that it might be an overload of work. The load might be too great and I would need assistance from someone. And because I knew that she could do it, and she was willing to listen, she was willing to take advice, and we were both sharing our opinions differently, we got along with it. We decided, hey, you know what, let's go for it. Let's see what happens here on out. It would be ups and downs in terms of production of pieces, but it's still been beneficial so far. So,
what did that do for you, Z? Having someone tell you, you need to create a few more pieces for me. I need to see. What did that do? What was your reaction?
Well, considering that I wasn't drawing for quite a number of years, I basically stopped like maybe a year after college, because as he said, there wasn't really much of an appreciation for it. I sold a few pieces, but I more focused on architecture after that. And I guess it was a good thing to know that I still had it, because I never really, because what the drawings that he saw were just sketches. It was just something for me. Somebody wanted something done, and I just did it just because he was leaving the country, and I just did them so he can, have them. And having someone challenge me and encourage me to get back into it, it's almost like I didn't miss a step. It was just like getting back on it again, just doing it. So it was good to talk to each other about, getting the work done and getting some advice and things that I may have, lost.
How do you balance the love for art and the love for architecture? Is there any imbalance?
Well, I have to consider that art came first, because I only realized that I wanted to do architecture when I started secondary school. So I chose my subjects based on that, and art was in the midst of it. I wouldn't say that, well, there is a balance. It doesn't really cause a problem, because the artistic side actually helps with the architecture. So it's not a problem.
Using graphite to create beauty, the two developed techniques of their own, giving a photorealistic look to their artwork.
I would patiently sit and labor over your piece to gather a sense of perfection. And when it's completed, especially if it's a complete or exact replica of what you are looking for, then hey, it's more appreciated. Yes, it's more work. It was done by hand.
Yes, it is.
It's not machine. It is not done by some man-made apparatus. It was all within the fingers and a piece of wood with lead, or just lead. Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. It's more sweat, it's more time, more frustration, more energy, more aching fingers, more cramps.
Anybody can take a picture and Photoshop it.
I can take a picture. I don't have to be a photographer.
I was waiting for you guys to talk about Photoshop.
Anybody can take a picture and Photoshop it and let it come out perfect. But actually having someone sit and draw you and capture that essence of you,
so different.
It's different. It's a different feeling.
It's different, especially when you're able to gather the textures that are on that particular person on paper, make an image look as though it's three-dimensional when it's not supposed to be, because it's flat. But as far as you're seeing, it looks three-dimensional. It feels like you can touch it and take it up. And that's some of the tricks that artists learn. And I would like to say, hopefully one day I should be able to, I haven't tested it as yet, so I don't know. I want to be able, what's it called, trompe l'oeil or something of the sort, the illusion of the eye. Yes, I want to be able to do a couple pieces like that. I am yet to try it. I believe I can do it. No, I honestly believe I can do it.
Once you try to, yeah,
it's not a problem.
Pencil masters aim to take their clients' and viewers' attention to the drama of light, shadow, and texture with the mere use of pencils. Yes, the very pencils that our children use in the classrooms.
Some people still think that they are actually pictures instead of drawings. So we normally would have stages of the work just to prove that, hey, this is actually pencil. Because I remember speaking to one lady on the phone, and I was just completely surprised at the fact that she did not know that pencil was capable of producing artwork. As far as she knew it, it was
Well,
just
she
in
was
paint.
probably reflecting me.
So I was like, wow, this is strange. But because she kept on asking, pencil, as in pencil work, as in pencil drawing, as in pencil artwork. I was like, yes, ma'am. So I found that.
The amazing fact is that you don't have access as yet to the special types of pencils that other persons use. So what's amazing about what you do is that you use the average pencil that's used in the classroom every day.
The pencils that you would find and the artistic ones, it's not the highest grade, it's just what's available within the Caribbean. Because as we say, most of the stuff that are available in the States aren't available down here, and the quality differs, because the quality is very low for the pencils that we carry. But imagine if we had access to those type of materials, it would be complete, because the pencil has a lot of effect in the amount of the possibility of an actual piece.
Most people don't realize that pencil can really produce such high quality, more picture-like looking drawings. So once we've posted those on the page and it's spread, Facebook is a worldwide thing, they see it, and especially if it's a friend of theirs that got one done, they want one done too. We've had cases like that. A friend would have had one done and they like it, they want one too.
Is there one that is renowned out there that you really appreciate in terms of their skill, their artwork?
J.D. Hilberry, because again of his illusionary drawings. It's amazing the fact that he can draw tape and backgrounds to the point that it actually looks real, and you're there. That I remember seeing one of his pieces, which came first, the chicken or the egg. It was actually a drawing of a shelf, and there was an egg and the paper drawn, there's a scribble of a chicken, simple childlike drawing, and a pencil that was taped across the paper. And because of how it was laid out, it looked like if the pencil was actually real and stick there along with the paper, and the egg was just resting on the shelf. And no matter how much you sat at it and you looked at it, you can, for me personally, I can see that the egg was a drawing, but the pencil and the paper was the part that got to me, the part that it had frills, like when you would rip a binder sheet out, and it had the same crinkle lines, and it was kind of cool.
A lot of time I'm sure he put into that.
It's kind of really cool, and the fact that he had no white areas. Each part had a shade, whether it be from a 9H to a 6H pencil, it doesn't matter, it was all there. And the more you look at his pieces, especially that type of drawing, is the more you wanted to try it. Well, for me, the more I want to try it. But his portraits, yes, the portraits, not really. But the illusionary drawings, those are amazing for me personally. Those are interesting pieces.
Okay, you've both mentioned during the discussion times of frustration. What is it that brings you back? What is it that you do? What is it that helps to motivate you to keep going during those times of frustration when you may be working on a piece? Each other?
I don't.
I see you looking at each other.
Basically, we try to encourage each other and motivate each other. I don't have his issues. He has issues. I don't get frustrated that easily in terms of doing a drawing. Basically, it's probably because when I sit down to do a drawing, I don't move until it's near completion. He spends more time focused on each area. He'd spend 2 hours on one eye, you know.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Which I
It's
think
for
is
a
good
reason.
because the end result is always pretty much perfection.
It's for a
So
reason.
I think he gets more frustrated a lot easier than I do. So when he does, I think I try to encourage him to, you know, maybe he's not seeing what I'm seeing. He would see some kind of imperfection there, but I would be seeing something different. And, you know, I give him some nice words and he'll move on, you know. But it's all right.
So you depend on those nice words to keep you moving along.
Just say yes.
Not necessarily.
Just say yes.
Depend on my music.
Music, so you like music too?
Yeah, it helps. It helps. As you said, the 2 hour part is, that's not a lie. I can take like, sometimes even a full day just to do an area that is just minute. It has no kind of specific sense. But when I'm finished with that area, I will sit and I would look at it. That would be where the rest of the hours come in, because I'll just sit and look at it, go away, come back, sit and look at it some more, drink some juice and look at it. And then I come, I start again, and within the same 2 hours, I'll finish the drawing.
I can't do that. If I move, I lose my feel for it. I have to sit until I lose feeling in my fingers, you know.
This is crazy. Damaging your fingers. Why?
It won't be damaging it. It's
You'll
just,
be completing an artwork.
yeah.
It's completed. Any which way. Sit, look at it, see, visualize what it's going to be. And then as you go away, you come back with maybe some food. And yeah,
I see you have a range of inspiration.
a range of inspiration after you finish the music, the
That
food,
the next day,
little gyrating, dancing and
spend
stuff.
2 weeks.
Yeah, look at it. Maybe look at it for 2 weeks. Yeah, that happens. Yeah, it's 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
You just touch an area.
I remember he took 2 weeks to do a piece.
It was for a good reason.
2 weeks. It came out pretty good though. It was like, it looked exactly like the picture.
It was large. That's why.
And it was a large piece, you know.
2 weeks for a reason.
I remember sitting watching him doing some detail on a chain for a couple hours. You know, the end result is always good. So
It's for a reason. Just saying.
I feel your passion.
Yes.
So where do you see your work with this amount of passion and dedication? Where do you see yourself in the next, say, 5-10 years?
5-10 years.
Let's look at 5, sorry. Let's look at 5.
A building marked Pencil Master. As you walk in, you'll see white and black. Maybe some nice flowing cloth coming off the wall to complement the black and white frames. And you will see studio pieces. And behind the counter, you will see a young lady sitting there, and she will ask you if she can help you. And welcome to Pencil Master Inc., where we satisfy your greatest desires, always creating beauty with graphite. And on top of that, she will give you a handout which will list all of the products that we offer for any occasion, specific reasons. And from that, you will notice the excellent detail of placements of pieces arranged on the walls.
maybe some of the abstract that you're looking for.
You might be surprised. And as you look at them, you can't help but have thoughts evoked in your head, and you try to realize if these are actually pictures or drawings, and trying to understand the concepts behind of it and the wording and the paragraphs and the phrases as you try to imagine the concepts and everything flowing with that drawing. And by the time you're finished, the next thing you do, you go back to the counter and ask, how much does these pieces cost? And as she answers you and you get a profile, she even take your email address. You'll be sent information if you choose not to take anything then. By the time you return, you'll be at a point that I would need this and this done for this and this reason at the particular reasons, and we will offer you a particular price range where we will always try to complement your pocket. Just saying. But it will be black and white studio. I'm just saying. It's not Pencil Master Inc.
Well, you know, for the kind of skill that you have to have a vision. But boy, you're detailed.
Yes, very detailed.
And so it's that details.
You are detailed.
The artwork created and displayed by Anson and Zana are described as rare in the Caribbean, and it is highly appealing and pleasing to many who have come into contact with pencil masters. The artist's wish is that the value and appreciation of art in general would increase in the West Indies.
It's not really an open, it's not everybody has connections with it. Not everybody appreciates it, and that was one of the biggest challenges. So there are few persons who would actually want, but still they might consider, everybody might want one, but they might not be willing to pay the price that it actually costs. And it doesn't matter how much you might want to adjust it, it will always seem too expensive for somebody, and that's the problem we will always face with it. So,
because there is still room for people in the region to value and appreciate the skill and creativity of an artist, the question is asked, how does Pencil Master respond to the business side of work? That is, alongside the real value of a piece of art.
You talk about your well, you didn't actually say blood, sweat, and tears, but that's what it came over.
It's there. Labor.
So I will ask you, how do you handle the business side of being an artist? Because it is said that the real value is never placed on a skill of that sort. You know, even though you might put a price tag to it, the real value is never there.
Well, as we said, it's more of a name. Art is just like, it's just like singing. For instance, we can draw a reference to famous singers. If we cannot compare somebody that's local here, who might just be singing, just not to bash anybody, let's say Tian, right? We can't go to the States or go all right around the world. Let's say we went to Germany and mentioned Tian Winter. Nobody is not going to really. Some might know him if they've been to the Caribbean, compared to if we were to say Michael Jackson, or if we were to say Rihanna. They would have some sort of knowledge about these people because they're famous worldwide. They're people that's been traveling. It's the same thing for art. And the strange thing is that most artists aren't ever famous until they're dead. So, like, it's a weird thing that your pieces are never really valued the amount in your lifetime, but maybe in 10 others or a second, somebody else's generation. So your pieces will have value, maybe, eventually. It's not necessarily going to happen for everybody, but it will. And it's the same thing, it's just awareness. It's not everywhere has the same appreciation for art as another country. Like somebody in the States might appreciate art better than somebody in the Caribbean, or somebody in the Caribbean might appreciate a different type of art compared to somebody in the States. We might be more into, look at the steel pans. We appreciate our steel pans because we know what goes into making them. In the States, the steel pan isn't as important. It's just another musical instrument, but it doesn't connect the same. So it's just awareness and how it's getting into.
There are two teachers, two artists, one goal. And although it's easily assumed that they both teach art, well, technically I guess that's true. Anson teaches visual arts while Zana teaches technical drawing. And she also has a passion for architecture.
When I did that piece for my mom for her birthday, in all the years that I've been drawing, I've never really done anything for her specifically. I remember I did a piece when I was in college. I did a portrait of her, but I still have that in my little art book that I used to carry around. But I never actually gave her a piece that I did specifically for her. And she was surprised because she wasn't expecting it at all. I had it delivered to her and everything, and when she saw it, first thing she did was call. You know, she was really happy to have it, and I guess she told everybody about it. So even on my wall, she even wrote stuff on my Facebook wall and on the page, and so I guess, you know, that was probably the best moment, seeing her happy, just giving her something from, I mean, she made me, you know, I have to give back something.
So you can make something else for her.
Yeah.
I did a piece for my godmom, and I didn't really know the value of that piece to her until it was actually finished. As she looked at it, saw her having goosebumps and becoming all teary-eyed, realizing that that piece had more than just sentimental value. It had meaning because of the fact that it was for a family member who wasn't well. And, you know, as she explained, it made me feel even more, you know, motivated to continue doing it. Just for moments like those where I could bring a smile to someone, give them such a feeling, because the concept was different, especially on the drawing. It wasn't something that I've done before. It comprised of 4 persons, and it was arranged around to center one main person on that drawing, and that person meant a lot to her. So when she saw it, to see her reaction and to feel, you know, just to see evidence of what she was feeling, it meant a lot. It really did. And those are some of the moments that you look forward to while you're drawing for persons. Those are some of the things I try to focus on, not remembering just my worst incident, because if I was to dwell on that, yeah, I wouldn't be drawing for nobody, as I said. In terms of encouragement, I will just be honest. In terms of this thing, our biggest problem has always been the word can't. I can't do this and I can't do that. I've even managed to prove to some students and even persons who weren't my students that they could actually draw. Yeah. Just by simply showing them a different means of attempting it. The hardest things that you would think about, they all have some sort of basic shape, whether it be triangle, square, circle, you know, cylinders. When we want to get more two-dimensional, then we move from those things to a cube, cuboid, square, you know, cylindrical shapes and those things. It's just placing even that most complex object within that shape, and you following the line you get, you know. But explaining it to them, it sounds hard. Showing
demonstrating is always better.
Has always proven.
Because even although we teach in different fields, it's basically the same thing. Because I've had students who, you look at the drawing in the book or on the board, and the first thing that comes to your head, okay, it looks complicated, I can't do it. But once you show them the steps, and they'd be like, all of that just to do that, I couldn't do that. You know, if they actually sat down and took the time out to look at it and go step by step. So it would basically have been the same thing, because I've had incidents where the art room is actually next to my technical drawing room.
How convenient.
Yeah, it's actually right there. So I've actually had some of my technical drawing students who do art come over for some advice on how to get some things done, and you show them how to, because they would have issues, especially with curves. I think that may be one of the major problems in art, getting the curves and the ellipse. And I'm thinking it's the same kind of ellipse you do in technical drawing, you know, it's just freehand. So you can try it, and you know, relate to that, yeah. It's basically the same thing. But you guys are basically
telling me that anyone can draw. Is that
a
fact?
Anyone can draw.
It is possible. It's just it might not be the same skill level. It might not be with the same detail. Your detail, you getting to my level might actually maybe take forever. You know, some persons might find it impossible, but it's not necessarily that it's impossible. It's just the time that you would need to actually get there. As we said, our human mind is limitless.
And
we can do
the
some
great thing
things.
about art is that there's never really a wrong way. It's your style. If that is your style of doing it, I can't tell you that it's wrong. I can't expect you to produce what I produce. If that's how you interpret it, then that's how it is. You just develop it. If it is you get to the point that you can produce something the way I do, then, you know, it's just a matter of encouragement.
Because it's just like when you give a theme and you said, hey, our theme is red. You might come up with a different topic, you might see blood and, you know, just pain and hatred or something. I might see food, apples and strawberries and anything red. She might see carnival, clothing, or burning flames, you know, stuff like that. It just depends on what you're thinking and how your imagination flows. There's never one way of doing anything. I can't tell you draw the box that way. Yeah, it might be one set way of drawing a box, but when I give you, so you could put this composition together for this, however you do it, it's your way.
Yeah,
your shading style might be way different from mine. You might prefer hatching over just smudging, and she might prefer cross hashing or pointillism or something. Yes, it's always different.
You're using all your terms on me.
You see, that's what makes it different. As we generalize, it would be going horizontal, horizontal and vertical together, and dots, you know, are just rubbing. It's just how you feel. It's how you feel. That's how it makes it different.
I try to relate the art, as I said, with my architecture, because even when I was doing the architectural technology course at Abbott, we had to do an aspect of art. We had to design a house and shade it. We had to use 3 different methods of shading. And I never really thought of it that way, incorporating the art with it, but it actually helps with design. It actually helps in terms of not just sticking to designing it, but probably putting colors together for the house and stuff like that. It helps.
The truth is, the more we can educate the public about the specialness of work by the hands of the artists, the more they will come to love it and value it. Until next time on Untold Stories, this is Shavane Sullivan saying thank you for watching. Do send us your feedback and or suggestions at untoldstoriesantigua@gmail.com.